I want to share with you the exercise that I share with all of my students, and it is the most important exercise that we ever do. I'm doing it right now. So this exercise is called the observer. So the point of this exercise is to allow yourself to observe your mind from a third party. What this does is it allows you to see how your mind works, how it speaks to you, when it comes in, when you're being triggered, when it speeds up. All the things we identify with, we now are going to observe and create some sort of separation. What this exercise actually does is it allows you to witness your mind and understand its workings, and then be able to tell the difference when you're trying to be psychic or intuitive between what your mind is telling you and what your intuition is telling you. I do encourage making this exercise as simple as possible, especially when you're starting out. So there are a few different ways you can create your observer. The way that I do it is I visualize a version of me that's a 1950s secretary with a little notebook who is standing right here and waiting for me to give her instructions. The most important part about this exercise is that your observer has no emotion. It's never going to judge you or shame you for relaying information that it's observed. Very important to remember. So what I will program the observer to do is observe something that may be blocking my intuition or psychic abilities. So what I will do is I will get my observer to acknowledge where I'm not acknowledging my emotions. Please observe this. So in the morning, I'll wake up, observer, please observe where I don't acknowledge my emotions. Then I will go about my day with this program running in the background. At the end of the day, I will check in with her and say, observer, what did you observe about me not acknowledging my emotions? And then she will give me information, and I will get a deeper and clearer understanding of when my mind comes in to stop me from acknowledging emotion. Why is acknowledging emotion important when being psychic? If we don't acknowledge the emotion or how we feel in the moment, what it can actually do is cloud our intuitive state or our psychic reading. If you've had a reading with me, you would have heard me at some point in the reading continuously acknowledging how I feel, because I don't want the emotion to taint the information I'm reading. Here are two other ways you can program your observer if visualization doesn't work for you. You can get an object. Some people get something small like a crystal, even a toy that they take with them, or a keyring everywhere that represents their observer. And they simply talk to the object, then check in with it at the end of the day and see what information comes in about what they were observing. If you're an occultist or a magical practitioner, you've got a few more tools up your sleeve. You could create a servitor for this exercise, or you could even invoke an angel to take on the role as your observer, or if you're in contact with your guides, you can also give them this responsibility. The most important thing to remember is that this exercise is non-judgmental and isn't meant to cause shame. So as the observer is giving you the information, you can also observe how you digest the information that comes in. As always, with the information that comes in, if it's causing emotional blockages, if you're not finding ways to work through it, I always suggest seeking support from your community or your networks, or even therapy to help you work through some of these emotional states that you are now observing. Self-reflection can be very challenging, and sometimes what we learned about self-reflection was that it wasn't safe. So if you're having trouble with this very simple exercise, many people do, and get curious about why that is happening and how you can work with those parts that are stopping you from being able to observe how your mind works. If this is something that's interesting to you and you're wanting to develop your psychic intuition at a deeper, more advanced level, I train people to be professional psychics. So go to my website, check out my psychic development training. I have an opening in August for online group training. And as always, I recommend having a session with me first before you book in. I hope this helps.